More in-depth on this trade war, I want to bring in CGTN's global economics analyst, Saruhan Hatipoglu. Saruhan, thanks for joining us. When I saw those tweets, one of the first things that caught me was this part, small 10%, small. So I did the math, 10% of $300 billion is $30 billion, effectively a tax that Americans will pay. Trump says they won't pay that. And that's not a small number for Americans. Am I missing something here?
No, you did the math correctly, Roee. It is a big number. His concept of small, I think, is compared to 25%, because there was some talk earlier on that it could be immediately 25% on the remaining goods. So that's what he said. But there are some other troubling things in those tweets. I don't know if you caught that. He called President Xi my friend in the same sentence when he was saying, well, the sales of fentanyls are killing American people. In the same sentence, he used the word friend for that. And there are many other disturbing things. Maybe we can touch upon that later.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to us that Trump has this sort of strategy that he uses. And another strategy that I caught was that, he said that China 3 months ago was ready to sign a deal and then walked away from the deal. And that's one of the reasons he's acting. We saw this sort of public pressure campaign also with Guatemala recently on this safe third country deal, publicly shaming them, if you will, perhaps hoping to twist their arm. This, what you talked about, my friend, this seems part of the Trump sort of king of the deal, the art of the deal. This seems part of his strategy in the presidential seat.
I think that's part of it, yes, because we have seen this happen before. When there was positive news coming out of the two leaders meeting, everybody was building up expectation, and then came a tweet in May, right? Starting everything from scratch. And we're seeing the same thing again. But I think this time, the president knows that he can wait a little bit, or at least he thinks that he can wait a little bit, because economic numbers, according to him, are good, and China is slowing down. But September 1st, we have a month. So this doesn't immediately get implemented. We have a month. And in the contrarian view that I'm going to defend here, maybe this was a good thing, because now we have a deadline. Now businesses know that by September 1, a decision is going to be made. Because I talked to a lot of business leaders, and they're absolutely caught in this uncertainty, and they don't know what to do with their supply chains. They don't invest anymore. We've seen in the GDP numbers. So this might actually be a positive thing just from that angle.
He was asked about that deadline, September 1st. He seemed to say, well, it just takes several weeks for the ships to get here. Does that seem a reasonable response?
No, it doesn't. But what is going to happen is products are going to be purchased more and more to beat that deadline, and we've seen that happen. And that actually is a positive thing for GDP, if you think about it, right? Because you're spending more now to get the goods without them being subject to tariffs. That makes sense. But in the long run, if you look at the GDP breakdown in the United States, you're seeing that business investment is contracting.